Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be profiling for you my Masked Hero deck. Now Masked Hero has got new support out of the Hero Strike structure deck last month, and they're really fun to play with now that we have Masked Hero Dark Law, which is kind of the boss monster for the deck, and the new Strato-esque card, the beautiful and lovely Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. And if you already did not know this, Shadow Mist is actually a girl. I've had so many people say, he is such a good card. It's actually, she is such a good card because it's actually a woman, if you did not know already. Without further ado, let us get started for you guys. I used to play heroes back in the day, back when we had things like Avion, Blistrinatrix, and Sparkman. I used to play back then, back when we had those cards and they were vanillas, and heroes weren't that amazing. Elemental heroes were not that amazing until they got things like Miracle Fusion, Future Fusion, I guess you could say, Stratos, things like that, Hero Lives, things of that nature. So I've been playing them off and on for a number of years, and they're always fun to play with, and I'm happy I can play with them again in their new Masked Hero form, I guess you could say. So first we have our three beautiful, lovely Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. It's kind of the pseudo Stratos for the deck, I guess you could say, because we don't have Stratos. Stratos would be helpful in this deck because not just for the fact that it searches and you can abuse it, but also for the fact simply because you could use it with Divine Wind and Masked Change. So, I mean, we kind of do miss it, but Shadow Mist is a good searcher replacement, I find, and she's amazing. Next we have two Bubble Man. Some people prefer running 3 Bubble Man, some people prefer running 2 Bubble Man. It's personal player preference. I find that when I run 3 Bubble Man, it does get a little bit cloggy instead of just running 2 Bubble Man. So I just prefer running 2 instead of 3 because it can get cloggy. Then I run 2 Neo Hero, I've always pronounced his name so wrong. Elemental Hero Neo Alias. Simply because I like running him as a 2-of because of Masked Change. You can use him with Koga. I also like using him because he can be a target for Miracle Fusion, and plus the fact that he is a 19 beat stick, and I like him just using him as a beater. So maybe I made a Masked Hero, then I normal summon him, or depending upon the setup and what I have in my hand, and sometimes I'll just normal summon him and just attack with him, or sometimes I'll use Masked Change again on him. So I like him. He's also can be used for Goblinberg fodder, so say you don't have a Shadow Mist in your hand to go off with Goblinberg. You can just make a rank 4 warrior exceed or any level 4 exceed that you wish to. So I like him as a 2-of in the deck. Then I run this one Elemental Hero card that people are going to say to me, you should not run this card, it's awful, but I say to you that he is actually my favorite Elemental Hero, and I have to run him in the deck because of that one reason. And as a 1-of, he's really not hurting the deck at all, really. He does put in work, I will admit that. So the one card I'm talking about is Elemental Hero Wildheart. I've always liked this guy because he reminds me of Braveheart, or like an amazing warrior type of monster, and I've always loved warrior-esque hero figures, I guess you could say, so I've always been drawn to Elemental Hero Wildheart. His effect is he can't be affected when by traps, by the effect of card traps, which is really nice in a way. He's nice because of the fact that sometimes if you have like a Dark Law out in the field, you can poke with him, so you can attack with him. Also, he's a good target if you have already gone through 3 of your Shadow Mist, maybe perhaps with your Summoner Monks. If you have an extra Summoner Monk, you can just bring him out for an Exceed fodder. Same thing with Goblinberg, with Neos. You can just go for Exceed fodder with him. But the main reason I run him is because of the fact that you can just use Masked Change with him to go into Masked Hero Diane, which in certain situations can be very, very a good card, I find, for the most part. And it's your biggest Masked Hero beater in the deck because she has 2,800 attack. So that is a very good thing. So I like running him as a 1-of. You don't have to run him if you don't want to. I just run him because he is my favorite hero. And as a 1-of, he does have a purpose in the deck, and he does put in work, I can say. Then we run, for helping get in your Shadow Mist effect off, we run 2 Summoner Monk. I wish Summoner Monk was a warrior, but that would have caused so many problems, I think, back in the day. But beside the fact, it's one of the few cards in the deck that you cannot search out. Sadly, but it's very powerful. It helps you go for your Masked Hero Change plays, whatever, your Exceed plays, whatever you want to. Whatever suits your fancy at the moment. Then I also run 2 Goblinberg. Some people just like running either, I've seen the different ratios for people. I've seen people run just 2 Summoner Monk and 2 Goblinberg, like I'm doing. I've seen people run just Summoner Monk or just Goblinberg. I've seen people run, you know, 1 Summoner Monk and 2 Goblinberg. The ratios vary completely from what I've seen. I'm trying to explain to you, but I find that it's very consistent with Goblinberg and Summoner Monk. The reason I like running Goblinberg is because it is a searchable target. And when you open up with like a Rhoda or a Goblinberg and a Shadow Mist, you can just go off right that moment and just do what you need to do. So I really like it. It helps also precipitate Exceed plays and going into the Warrior Exceed extra deck. Things like Heroic Champion, Excalibur, and whatnot. I apologize, guys. I'm just getting over a cold currently, so I sound a little bit nasally. I do apologize. Next, we run our 3 Reinforcement of the Army. Like every time I do a Warrior deck profile, I have to say to myself, thank gosh Rhoda is at 3 because it helps all the Warrior decks out there nowadays. But Rhoda really helps the searchability of this deck because you can search out your masked heroes if you want to. You can also search out Goblinberg to go for your plays if you want to, so it's very helpful in the deck. Then we also run 3 Masked Change. Some people, I mean, Masked Change is amazing in the deck, I guess you could say. Some people have said that it's an amazing card in this deck. It should get limited. I've heard people say, but I don't think it's ever going to get limited. I don't know what they're talking about. It's an amazing card, though. The fact that it's a quick play spell just makes the card extra good, and I really like it. Then I also run 3 A Hero Lives. Some people are going to debate about this. I've heard different people say different things personally. I've heard people say you only should run 2 because what happens if you use, you know, if your life points get so low, they could go Heartland Drago or Gagaga Cowboy or something of that nature. Hasn't happened to me all that terribly much in real life, as much as I would think it would. Usually I only activate 1 or 2 per duel. Usually it's, I don't like activating it early on in the duel, but sometimes I find that depending upon my hand and what I get, it can be very helpful. Just going for that Shadow Misplay, then going off, and then doing what you need to do, setting some good back row, it can put your opponent in, if you're going first turn that is, it can put your opponent in a losing situation. And plus the fact I say that you do run Summoner Monk, so you do have a lot of spells, so if one is dead in your hand or you don't want to use it, just pitch it with Summoner Monk and then, you know, get your Shadow Mist out that way. So 3 A Hero Lives. Then we run 2 MST for dealing with pendulums, skill drain, other vanities, emptinesses, whatever is out there in today's game that you want to get rid of. Then I run 2 Masked Charge. Some people like running this as a 1-of, some people like running it as a 2-of. It's player preference. Early game it can get cloggy. Depending upon your setup or what you're doing, it can actually not be that cloggy early game. Just depends upon how you're playing the deck in some aspects, I guess you could say, or how good your hand is. But mid to late game, this card is very, very good, I find. Simply because the fact that it's kind of a +1, I guess you could say. You help get your resources from your graveyard back to your hand to go off again. Excuse me. So I really like it in the deck. I wouldn't play 3. I've seen people play 3 of it. I think 3 is way too much, but 2 I think is a very good number in the deck. It's an amazing top deck when you're in top deck mode, I guess you could say. It's an amazing card in that respect. I apologize. Then we run 1 Miracle Fusion and 1 Mass Change Second. So let me talk about this for a second. I've been running Mass Change Second because sometimes, even though I do run pretty much each of the, I run Earth, Dark, Water, and Light, so I can use all the masked heroes with their just regular Mass Change. It is nice sometimes to have that Mass Change in there, depending upon the Mass Change Second in there, depending upon the situation, because sometimes, excuse me, you can use it to go for 2 masked heroes, I guess you could say. So if you have a, you know, you went masked hero with a, depending upon, you went Summoner Monk, brought out your Shadow Mist, got a masked change from your deck, masked change your, you know, Shadow Mist if you wanted to, and then you say you had masked change second already in your hand, you pitch a card, and you can go for another masked hero, so you can get 2 masked heroes out that way, or 2 Dark Laws, whatever the situation is you want to do, really. It just comes in handy with Goblinberg and Dark Law, mainly with Summoner Monk and Goblinberg. I have thought about dropping it out completely. I'm still playtesting it. It's the one card that I'm really playtesting. I'm debating running either 2 Miracle Fusion, so taking this out, running another Miracle Fusion, or running, you know, just keeping it in there. So I'm kind of debating that. If you have a suggestion, please let me know down below. I'm still playtesting it, but Miracle Fusion's amazing in the deck. I want to make this deck more of a masked hero deck instead of like a Miracle Fusion, you know, go for bust type of deal. So I mean, you can run another Miracle Fusion if you want to. Like I said, I'm thinking about taking this out, running 2 Miracle Fusion, but then sometimes I find that it's good to have Mass Chain second in the deck because it can help you go for certain plays, certain times, and it doesn't hurt me as a one-of, but I'm still playtesting that. Then for your other one-ofs I run, your 1 Snatch and Steal, your 1 Book of Moon, and your 1 Regeki. Good staple one-of card. Snatch and Steal, amazing card. Worst case scenario, steal their boss monster. Book of Moon. It also is very good to help protect Dark Law because Dark Law has 2,400 attack, and depending upon the monster that is attacking you, they can sometimes easily get around that depending upon what is going on. So Book of Moon can help negate those effects. Regeki, just blow up their field and proceed with your day. Then we run 2 Fiendish Chains. I like the same reason I run Fiendish Chain over Breakthrough Skill, mainly for the fact that it can help protect Dark Law. Dark Law is kind of your boss win condition, I guess you could say, in the deck. You protect him long enough against certain decks and he will win you the game single-handedly. But I do like the 2 Fiendish Chains because of that reason. It can help protect Dark Law. You can run Breakthrough Skill. I have tried it out before, but I prefer Fiendish Chain over it. Then I run 2 Vanity's Emptinesses, an amazing card in this deck. When you have a Dark Law out and a Vanity's Emptiness, it could be a very good time for you. Your opponent's going to have a hard time getting out of that little lock, I guess you could say. So I do like the 2 Vanity's Emptinesses in this deck. It actually seems to put in a lot of good work of Vanity's Emptiness and Dark Law. Then we run 2 Mirror Forces, mainly for the fact that you do run Dark Law, so it can be just this big deprison. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of that Blackwing card. I think it's Black Sonic, I think it's called, actually. Which is a really good card in Blackwings, but beside the fact, that card is kind of like a big deprison, and when you have Dark Law out in the field, Mirror Force becomes like a big deprison. So I really like that for that matter. And plus it can prevent you from getting OTK'd and things like that too as well. Then I run 2 Call the Haunted. If you guys saw my deck profile I did yesterday of this deck, I uploaded it for 5 minutes and then I noticed, oh my gosh, how could I be so crazy? Actually I only had 39 cards in the main deck. I couldn't believe it. I've been playing this deck for a week and I did not know that. So whatever. I added the second Call of the Haunted. Works very well in the deck. Amazing card in the deck. Helps you go for your plays and whatnot that you need to do. Can help you bring back your Shadow Mist and Exceed monster if you want to go that way, but mainly help bring Shadow Mist back, abuse its effect, go for ranks, go for masked hero changes, whatever. So, very good card in the deck as a 2 of. Some people like running it as a 3 of, but I find that 3 is a little bit too much. Just my opinion. Then we run 1 Bottomless Trap Hole and 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device. No Solemn Warning and no Soul Charge because we do run 3 Masked Hero Lives. And I find that sometimes, because you're paying half your life points first turn, even though that's not optimal to do, you don't want to run those cards because they can be kind of dead drawn, I found. So just compulsive and bottomless that work out well. Now onto the extra deck, guys. Give me a second, please. So first I run 2 Masked Hero Dark Law. I may bump them up to running 3 Masked Hero Dark Law, but for the most part, 2 is all I seem to ever use. Very rarely have I ever said, oh my gosh, I wish I had 3 Dark Law in the extra deck. Rarely happens, I guess you could say. But 2 Masked Hero Dark Law. 2's enough for me. Then I run 2 Masked Hero Acid because sometimes I do find myself going for 2 Masked Hero Acid. If not just for the fact that he's a 26 speed stick and can get over monsters sometimes, just for the fact that sometimes my opponent will sit more back row. I know it's not a back row heavy format, but the card does come in handy, I find, as a 2 of. You don't have to run it as 2 of, but where I'm from, people still run a lot of back row, so that's why I run 2 of him. Then I run 1 Masked Hero Diane, 1 Koga, for your last two Elemental Hero monsters. Koga works very well in this deck if your back's against the wall. Diane, just a very good card in general. I feel like it's kind of a little underrated. It's not it's a pretty dang good card for the most part. It can help precipitate plays, so it's nice when sometimes you can use it in combination with Wild Heart. So I do like the card. Then I run one Shining and one Absolute Zero. You can run Elemental Hero Escorido if you want to, but I find Absolute Zero and Shining are the two Miracle Fusion targets that I would go for the most, especially Absolute Zero, most of the time. Like I said, if you want to add another masked Miracle Fusion, you could add things like Contrast Hero as well as Escorido, but that's up to you personally. Then we run for your Warrior Exceeds one Blade Armor Ninja, one Heroic Champion Gandiva, one Heroic Champion Excalibur. The reason I run Blade Armor Ninja is because sometimes I do find that he does put in work if your opponent has an open field. So I like it for that reason. Heroic Champion Gandiva, it's an underrated card I feel like, and it can put in a lot of good work. And Heroic Champion Excalibur is for getting over those big monsters or just forcing your way through your opponent. Then we run one Abyss Dweller, one Lavava Chain, one Castel, and one, Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. So Abyss Dweller is pretty good because you can shut down their graveyard effects if they get around your Dark Wall. Lavava Chain can help set up plays in the graveyard for the future. Castel, the Sky Musketeer, send things back to the deck, spin it back to the deck. And Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon is a card that I just put in there for generic XYZ summoning. I maybe place it eventually if I decide to run two Miracle Fusions with a Contrast Hero or Escorido. I'm kind of debating it at the moment still. So, yeah, that's the extra deck. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this Masked Hero deck profile. Masked Heroes, for the most part, with the exception of a couple cards here and there, if you buy 3 of the structure deck, you're pretty much going to have the entire deck right there at your fingertips. The most expensive cards you're going to find outside of the structure deck are things like Regeki, Snatch and Steal maybe, if you don't already have those. The main ones just for the archetype based, I guess you could say, is going to be Acid. I don't think Diane is that much Acid, I guess you could say, and that's about all. Acid, I think. Acid and Vanity's Emptiness, I think, would be the 2 most expensive cards outside the main deck and extra deck combined, I would say, that are the most expensive. The deck you pretty much could probably build, I would say, for about if you put $60 down or $50 down, you probably could build this entire deck. With the exception of Lavava Chain, which is like a $60 to $70 card now. So putting Lavava Chain out of the equation, it's about a $50 to $60 deck, and you can have a lot of fun playing it. You don't need Lavava Chain, but it does help the deck. Just going to say that. It's not necessary, but it does help the deck. So guys, I hope you guys all enjoy this Masked Hero deck, and just like Jaden used to say back in GX, go get your game on, guys, and go have fun playing Masked Heroes. And until next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, go get your game face on, and go beat some opponents with some amazing Dark Law and some Masked Hero plays. Take care, everybody. Seto Kaba, I'm out for you guys till next time. Good luck dueling to you all.